Almost.
In
Live.
the vortex.
Ah.
Now we're live.
Live.
Yeah. Amazing. Hello.
How we all doing?
Hello.
Good,
Hi.
thanks. You're right.
I look really orange. I don't know. My lighting's off, but I also look like I got a spray tan. So
You look
Well, I'm glad that you said it.
very New Jersey of me.
It's fine.
Yeah. Whereas me, I feel like I'm all washed out.
Me
Need to
too.
put some more color
okay.
into my image.
You guys need some more smog in your life, like what we have.
Smog.
Oh,
Have
that's
enough smog.
crazy.
Do live in LA.
That looks like the filter I have. That's just the smoke in the room. You see
Sepia.
New York. Now
Yeah.
you see me.
The Instagram filter.
Totally.
That's cool. How
It's
are we?
getting better here, thankfully.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a new latest news thing that I'm just not familiar with? Your summer smog situation?
Have you
Oh.
not seen
No.
New-
No.
This
pay
guy
my-
lives in a hole.
Yes, obviously. Unless I got a
So-
Reuters alert.
There are. I can't believe I have to explain this. It's
Wildfires in
Yeah.
Canada.
You have to explain it to the rest of the European community and
True.
the Australian community, and there's other places outside of the America that we also call the world.
I think they
Who would've
all
thought?
know by now, though, because New Yorkers are so loud about it that it's hard to miss.
True.
Anyway,
Okay.
there are wildfires in Canada,
Uh,
north of New York, that have been blowing down into the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area.
Fun.
And if you go on Twitter and you just
Nope.
scroll
We'll not do it.
for a little
You
while,
will see orange, end of the world looking New York.
Got it.
it looks like a scene out of Dune.
Yeah.
It's pretty
cool.
insane.
Well, Dune's cool. I like Dune.
Well,
And
you fit right in.
we actually got an email like from Sirius and was like, don't come into the office basically because it's so
Ah.
bad. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. It sort of sounds like, every other summer in Australia, honestly. So, whatever. We get all the bushfires just like wipe stuff out and
Yeah.
take a lot of sky space out for smoke and really good Instagram filters for your selfies. So, works out.
Your selfies.
For your selfies. Yeah, I'll just
Saying stuff.
bring up, Lauren, just so you have context of this. This is about what it looks like right now.
You do a share screen on this thing?
I
No.
am going to do it.
What?
I'm going to demonstrate.
Wow.
No, we've never done this before.
Really?
No,
No.
we've never done a share screen.
Get out
Ever.
of here.
Not one time, and we're going to use it for the New York city skyline, which is actually
The
pretty
rest
decent.
of our life. Just kidding.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not going to work for me now. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Whoa!
Maybe.
yeah. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Holy shit! Okay, awesome. That's Dune.
Now,
Sweet.
now the thing with it is, like our weather yesterday and New York's weather are about the same because I'm only an hour south of New York, but it was supposed to be not a cloud in the sky and 75 degrees out, 75 to
Right.
80 degrees. There was no sun because of this, and it was about 50 degrees.
Oh wow!
All the
Okay.
flights were being canceled and everything. I'm glad I
Yeah.
wasn't like flying in or yesterday.
I
Oh,
just
wow.
imagine the commentary of people flying into New York to this being like, oh, they said it was polluted. And it is.
This is a whole new level.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. This is Dope or Nope. We do it every week. We miss our buddy Hess. He is not here today. He is in Mexico, enjoying
Mexico.
life.
Yes.
But we are
Very
here.
strong show opener. He has a very strong show opening monologue that he does off the top of his head. And the best that we have is "Welcome to Dope and Nope." Let's listen to some really good.
We'll
Let's
do
do
some
it.
quick intros. I'm Nick from the Disco Fries. You also know me from FinishMyTrack.com. We're usually live every week. We were not live this week because we're finishing some projects.
Tracks.
Yeah, totally.
Finishing some tracks. Guess what? FinishTrack.com.
Finishing the tracks.
He said it, not me. Lauren Padman, Dim Mock, A&R extraordinaire.
Thank you.
If you want notes on your record, he's the one to give you the most detailed, valuable notes on your record.
Slash to annoy the absolute shit out of you and consider deleting your number. Yes, that guy.
Amazing. And, of course, Raquel Goldie, all things K-pop, a new show, a new podcast
New podcasts.
on
Amazing.
AMP, right?
Yes, on AMP. Every Friday, 12 p.m. Listen
Wow.
live. It's fun.
Also on Sirius XM, Hits
Hurrah.
1, Globalization,
Yes.
Good Vibes Radio, Vinny Vibe,
Yes.
and PR Extraordinaire. So that's your link. This is the Dope or Nope crew minus Hess, who will be back next week, and we're going to get into it
What
now.
are you eating, Lauren?
Yogurt.
What are you eating?
He's
Oh.
sponsored by Chobani.
Yes.
You didn't
I'm not
hear?
paid for, but whatever.
All right.
Sorry.
Don't mind my DJ skills. I can DJ in real life, just not on here very well. So let's get into it.
Oh,
That's the
This
story
is-
going around.
Yeah. Filter with I Won't Remember. Corso Take a Picture rework. Gonna jump ahead to see if this last drop. All right, that's Filter. I Won't Remember. The Corso Take a Picture rework. Lauren, go for it.
Oh, well. That's really nice. It reminds me of a lot of records that were happening between the year kind of 2004 to 2000, maybe 8, 9, that type of era where there was like the Call on Me, Eric Prydz from Valerie. This one is Take a Picture from like 1999. It's just another really great loop up idea. So you either make more of it and you go down the same road as what was done with Flashdance, Deep Dish. My God, there was so many records from, I want to say Calvin Harris did something like that at the beginning of his career. There's a lot of loop up disco-y records where you grab a little sample. Armin van Helden is probably the hero of that. Grandmaster Mac Daddy of sample-based loops and making cool disco records out of it. Or you keep everything that you have and you just change the vocal to something else, because the chords are the chords and there's not really anything melodic in there that's a specific melody of sorts. But there's something quite nice about that. The first half of the melody going up, because I'll take your picture, that lift felt good, but then the rest of it didn't matter. It wasn't necessarily hooky. So I don't know, there's something about it that makes me feel like you could rework that into an original song pretty easily and then include verses, you know, in this little section that I'm hearing now in the background, for example. So yeah, it was good. I liked it. I instantly went, oh wow, this is fun. The second I heard that picture vocal, just the lift, it kind of reminded me of but you didn't need to cut me off. That like like that lift, that felt the same to me, and I'm like, oh, that's really nice. And then I started thinking, hang on a second, I know this record. So yeah, and it's not enough to be the existing vocal. You'd be giving away 100% of your publishing, even if you could clear it. For what? Like that little lift, you could replace that lift with something else and give it a shot. I think that's it.
Raquel?
I think, okay, so for what this is, I think it's really good in this lane. I was thinking because of the lyrics, which obviously you could get changed out, someone else would sing it, whatever. It'd be such a good sync record for like a camera commercial, for a movie, for anything like that. So this is a really good example of something that would fit really well in that lane if that's what you're trying to do. Obviously, if you're trying to make it go to radio, you got to do a little bit different situation to it. So, yeah.
Could I add to that, Raquel, that if you wanted to put this to sync, then you're going to have an issue where you'd have to request the license from the original writers, who might say, no, use my original song or something. And then you're kind of like at their mercy. And I wondered whether you could make it sort of, instead of being, I want to take your picture, it could be something like, you could change the lyrics to something about phone me up, or I want to call you, or something like that. And then it becomes a telecommunications, T-Mobile, Verizon thing. Same concept though. Like, think about, Raquel's advice is really strong here. Like, think about a lyrics that would sync well with that emotional, uplifting feel, and it just connecting anything which connects, which is pictures, or it is video content, or it is phone call. Like, we made a song at DimMac called Call Me Up, and just that alone would be syncable, but the lyrics were call me up when you're feeling better. And I'm like, no one's going to say that. So we had to rework a version specifically just to pitch to syncs, which is different to the version that goes out to DSPs. So yeah, good advice, good call on that. Good idea.
Thank you.
I have nothing valuable to add to what you guys just said, so I'm gonna let it go, and we're gonna jump into yeah, you guys crushed that. We're gonna move into Rimnez, Back to Life.
All right.
And I know he resubmits a lot, so this might be an updated version of something we've already heard. So. He just told me to skip it. Should we skip it or let it play?
Sure, skip it.
All right. Yeah, we did hear that one anyway, so
Yep.
You're out.
Yeah.
You're out. Next.
Really annoying. I have to tell you, it's starting to become annoying when songs we repeat without there actually being a specific change or fix that we're trying to listen into. It would be helpful to know if something's like, hey, this is an updated version. Could you give it some more advice? Or here's just me getting you to play my song multiple times.
And there are spots in the form, I think, to note that. So
Yeah.
you guys who do submit, please note these things and don't resubmit the same bounce over and over.
It's getting cold.
All right, this is JM, Alex Robson, I Need Your Love.
I feel it in my bones when you go away. Yeah. Boy, you take me higher. I think I need your love. Taking control of me. Without it, I can't breathe. I need your love. I don't know what to do. Without it, I can't go. I need your love. I think I need your falling apart here without you, baby, and all of this desire. I need you here to hold on, it drives me crazy. 'Cause boy, you take me higher, higher. No, it don't feel right. I know it's you I need, but you ain't there. 'Cause every night it's the same old feeling, just memories in my head. I need your love, taking control of me. Without it, I can't breathe. I need your love. I don't know what to do. Without it, I can't go. I
JM, Alex Robson, I Need Your Love. I'm going to give this a half a bell.
Wow.
That was solid. That was really
By
solid.
the way,
Like,
I
don't have
swapped the
anything
half
to
bell
say.
for a jingle bell. So
Oh my god, I love this.
that's getting a half a bell for me. I'm going to jump right into feedback on this one. I
Go ahead.
love that it does what you expect and hope it's going to do. It just needs, no pun intended, it needs a little bit of love.
Wow.
I feel like all the elements generally are there. There's some mix issues going on. I don't know if it's reverb on the bass or like just in general that bass could be a little bit punchier when you get to the drop. And also right here, hang on. Tell you where it is. There is way too much reverb on the vocal rolling into the drop, so you never get a moment for the limiter to reset so the drop could really like punch through. If you pull that reverb back, it could just be on the vocal for a bar or two before the drop. If you make the vocal kind of dry or just scale it way back, that drop is going to feel so much more impactful when it hits. I also, in the verse right here, these block chords don't work as well as they do in the breakdown that follows. You use like those same piano block chords. I would do something like a little bit more active with the piano, but like low pass it. So it has more momentum coming off of the drop. Overall, love the vocal, love the vibe. It seems like people in the chat really liked it. Rimnez, Spawn. So that's all I got from my end.
Okay. Very nice. I would like to give you an alternative opinion.
Ooh.
Let's hear it.
My opinion is that Nick and I suffer from the same inability to hear lyrics on our first listen. I, in this particular instance, managed to try to lift the veil of lyric listening, and I was listening to the lyrics, and they are truly horrible. There is nothing about the lyrics at all which makes it interesting for anyone over the age of 12 to understand. It's written simply so that a 12-year-old, which is fine, can understand it. It's not, there's no innuendos, there's no shadow writing, there's no ambiguity at all. It's just straight up cheese. However, I'd like to give it the other half of the bell for phenomenal production. It's really, really strong, and all of the opinions that you said, I was thinking most of them. I definitely had the vocal reverb thing, but I didn't have some of the other ones you're talking about. It felt really punchy and clean and whatever else. But yeah, the vocals are just horrible. Because it just cheeses it out way too much. It makes it way too pop. And if it's trying to be dance, it's just too pop to even be dance pop. But to my ears, it felt extremely, extremely commercial dance. On the shiniest side of dance pop, but production wise, sick. That's my advice.
I understand what you mean, but I also lean towards, generally speaking, with this kind of vocal, because the vocal's so powerful.
True.
It's like I Need Your Love is what sticks in your head.
Yeah.
The hook is fine. The I Need Your Love, the hook is fine. It's completely fine, but trust me, go back and have a listen to those verses.
All right, we'll do.
Really not good. Anyway.
Yeah,
Now I want to hear it.
I don't, the lyrics don't bother me, and I'm always a stickler with that stuff, especially from radio, but
Yeah.
I think it's because it's doing what it's doing, and you're expecting it to do that.
Yep.
This is one instance where, like, the lyrics are like, okay, like, I need your love, yep, cool, we've heard that a million times, it's not going to change it, we're going to have a million more records with that lyric, like, whatever, it's fine.
If I had to offer one more piece of advice off of that, would be like this. Actually, kind of contrary to what I said earlier, this does exactly what you hope and expect it would do, and it gives you it delivers what you need it to be. But there's nothing about it that's identifiably JM, who's the producer on it. I don't know what his thing is, because this sounds like it could have been made by Joel Corey or Shane Codd or somebody else. But those guys even have like unique differences in their styles. So I would say maybe introduce one or two elements to it that are uniquely yours, to give it your identity. It could be a piano house record, but what's going to be like that one thing that separates you from being like every other piano house record? So I would offer that. But great work, super dope track, and you got two half bells, which equal a bell.
That's right.
There you go. Oh, I'll do a half a bell too.
All right.
There you go. One and a half bell.
How do we feel
jingle
about how do we feel about the jingle bell in place of the half bell?
Don't like it at all.
I mean, it's almost Christmas in July, so.
All right.
Jesus. All right. We're just going to gloss over that and keep it moving. Here's the Duchess.
No one wants his Hallmark?
I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Whatever.
What's this?
This is the Duchess with Wasted.
Late at night and wide awake. Your energy is my cocaine. Oh, you left a taste like Chardonnay. I'm struggling, need double A.
That's the Duchess with Wasted. That's cool. All right.
That was great.
So sick. Loved it.
Bell.
Man.
Bell.
Boom.
2 bells.
One for bells. Double bells. Go ahead, Raquel.
That was just so cool. Like it was so different from everything we normally hear from the. I will say, I think from the beginning, acapella acoustic part to like the first brought in of the bring in of the music, words Raquel, needed like a little bit of like a smoother situation, but nothing crazy. It was just really like, I don't know, I went, oh, like this is so cool. Like I literally said that to myself in my head. Yeah. I don't have any changes besides that little part.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd love to hear that. It's just mainly this, right? Getting into the first drop.
Oh, you left a taste.
I think that was the part that jumped out to me.
Dude, so good. That's the highlight of the whole song to me. You left the taste like Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Lyrics.
Like
Lyrics.
It's interesting though. On second listen, I'm like, it doesn't bother me. They're like, I guess because I know it's coming this time, but
yeah.
No, it was good. It was a nice surprise. It came out of nowhere. I was like, oh damn, this it could have become anything. That record, when it doesn't have a meter and it's like meterless, and you don't know what tempo it's going to become, what style or genre, and then it drops into like a dark drum and bass, but not an aggressive drum and bass. It reminded me of oh man, what's that act? It's killing me right now.
You know what it reminded me of? Is it this? Is it Alan Walker Wasted? Just like a little bit.
Sure.
Like a little bit of the maybe it was the vocal, not the actual record, but the vocal part.
Massive Attack. That's what it
Massive
reminds me.
Attack. Nice. Deep cut.
So Massive Attack to me. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really great. I was writing down a ton of notes about it, just about how it feels very moody for sync. I can imagine it being a synchronization record that's not. It has lots of frenetic energy without being aggressive. So I liked it a lot. I think it was great. Very
Yeah,
very
I
nice.
Faded,
mean,
not
like-
wasted, by the way. Faded, not wasted. Hello.
Faded.
Faded.
It's-
Yeah.
Faded. Oh yeah, Faded. Yeah.
It's interesting producing records like this is difficult because, like you said, Lauren, it's like you got to ride that line of
Yep.
you could easily push all of these sounds a lot harder and in your
Sure.
face, or not be enough where it just sounds
Yep.
like unimpressive.
Yep.
But props to the Duchess. Right in line. I'm gonna give this a bell.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Triple bell action.
The more I think about it, it deserves
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Some
I think-
things that we listen to on the show are not in any of our like realms of taste of things that we might listen to regularly, which this
Accurate.
isn't something I would like. This wouldn't be a go-to genre for me. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't think of it as a bell-worthy song, but it's
Sure.
more a preference. That's not,
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the integrity of the song.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's keep it moving along. We've got a Dope or Nope regular coming up next. This is Radio Dave with Nothing Left to Say, which clearly he has lots of things to always say.
Say what you want to, I'm not coming back. Don't do me like that. I thought it all through. I'm better than that. I'm not by inside. I've been amazing. So many days gone away. Change them. It's all there's nothing left to say.
All right, that's Nothing Left to Say, Radio Dave. I'm confused on this record. It's interesting.
Ooh, why
Lauren,
are
you got a lot.
confused?
You got a lot of thoughts running through your head. I'm reading it all over your.
I
all over his face.
I was like writing a bunch of notes. My feeling on this record is it's just like one or two steps away from being cool. But there's nothing intrinsically about it that I want to change. I really like the space that it's giving now, for example. Like the bass now is nice. The lead bass when it came in felt slightly dated to me, but now it's potentially fresh. Like that was that lead bass is something that I was absolutely listening to and making in shit. I mean, that was a fresh sound in 2006, 2005, 6, 7. That was like a really fresh sound. Dirty South was just starting to play with it. But he was layering something underneath it to make it cool. And so, but now a lot of that stuff's coming back again and it sounds cool. So I don't know, like I just feel like it's a little too many, a few too many retro-ish things to my ear. But the vocoder's cool. But it's just a little too stompy electro, and I wonder what like a Wolfgang Gartner would do with it. Like what extra element would he put in there that would make it somehow more acceptable to the 2023 ear? So it's very close. It's half a bell.
It's half a bell.
Same.
I would go off of that and say it would be interesting to sample yourself on this record. So
Oh, yeah.
bounce the synth down to audio and treat it like chop it up a bit. So do some reverses, do some things to kind of like glitch it out so it doesn't have that like very square stompy feel. But I love the Wolfgang Gartner reference. I'd also strip these drums because I think part of the issue with this is the drum programming.
Yeah. The drum feels a little stumpy, a little bit too straight.
Yeah, if you strip the drums and you bring in some, I don't know, even houseier loops to play around with and see where you get with like sampling the bass, glitching that out with new drums, you might find a direction that's a little bit fresher. I'd agree that it feels a little too rooted in like nostalgic electro and it doesn't have anything new about it. Which if that's what you're going for, you're achieving that. But I think what Radio Dave normally tries to do is something that's relevant now. So knowing that, I would take a reapproach on it.
The vocal vocoder thing was also interesting, quite cool. So,
Stompy boy.
Stompy boy. I have a question for both of you, and I think this is just like a journalistic question.
Journalistic question. We're being
I don't know if
interviewed.
it's journalistic, but it's a question.
We're finally being interviewed by Raquel. Yeah.
So guys, okay, we talk about every week, you know, the nostalgia, and I feel like what is the fine line of making it too nostalgic? It sounds like that and not new. I feel like we always are like, oh, it's the good nostalgia. Yeah, I like this. But we don't ever, when something like this comes up and we're like, no, it's too that. What is something that's can make that difference?
I can give it to you in one word.
Ooh, give it one word. Let's go.
Snare.
Snare.
Snare always dates a record. If you listen to this record versus one from 2005 that was doing electro at the very beginning of electro when Dirty South invented electro versus the snare in 2010 when Wolfgang Gartner was really popping off, the snare is ever so slightly different each year. So that's the first thing that I would say that could help make a record have all of the elements of retro but make it feel current is in the drums. It's in the percussion. It's not just the snare. I'm oversimplifying for effect, as I like to do. And it might be in the hi-hats and just the programming of the drums in general. Do you remember there was a time around 2008, 9, 10 that the hi-hat went missing? The drops just came in and there was no hi-hat. And I remember Stonebridge coming for a tour in Australia, and he came to me and he goes, I have a serious question for you. And he was like speaking kind of Irish because he's Swede. And he sat down and he said, where's the hi-hat? What happened to the hi-hat?
Where is it?
Is it your fault here in Australia? Did you guys choose to do no hi-hats? Like Dirty South's not doing any hi-hats. Hi-hats don't come in until the very last part of the drop. So I think there's ways of making things feel more fresh. But answering your question more broadly, I would say, how am I meant to know? I'm old. I don't know. Like, how am I meant to know the what is fresh and cool unless it feels it? And if it feels cool, and if you're going out to shows and it works with a pack of people, and you have like hive mind, mob thinking, and you get a huge reaction, and people are into that style, then that's great. So at EDC this year, there was a lot of drum and bass, for example. I was told, and there's a lot of, let's call it tech house or house in general. Yeah. So that's what everyone's becoming, the new, interesting, fun, exciting thing that brings everyone together and makes everyone feel like this is awesome. And maybe that's therefore what, if you make a retro song that fits into one of those two categories at EDC, it would have stood out as like, holy shit, we love this and it feels retro. So maybe that's an answer.
I would agree with Lauren that drums make a monumental difference in how a record could be perceived. And I think dance music, especially new dance music producers that are kind of on the come up, hyper focus on sound design and their synths because dance is so rooted in that. But drums are always an afterthought at some level until you get to a certain point, and then you're like, oh, I forgot about the groove and how much that can impact the rest of the record. And not just the groove, the sound choice, The mix, one of the best things we learned from Dada Life was how a kick can entirely change a record. It can change how it hits in a club. It can change how the mix hits in your car. One singular kick can shift the entire rest of your mix down. So I think it's not just a genre thing or a nostalgia thing. The drums as a whole are such an important part of the song that, you know, if it's something you're not paying attention to as an artist and you're just focusing on like, how am I going to get the synth design right? Shift that and start thinking about how am I going to frame the synth that I have within this drum programming, and think of it that way. And I think it'll shift how you mix a record and how you create quite a bit.
Yeah, I like that.
Spawn said, as a mix show DJ, the first thing I hear is drums. That makes up 50% if I'm going to continue to listen to the track. I mean, that says a lot right there.
Yeah.
So there
Awesome.
you go.
All right. Radio Dave, thanks for sparking that. We're going to move to Rumex with California Dreamin', which I assume is going to be a cover, but we'll see. Right now. Yes, it is. Hang on.
Volume.
Yep, yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
And the sky is gray. I've been for a winter's day. All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray. And the sky is gray. I've been for a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA. California dreaming on such a winter's day. Stopped into a church.
This is a brick wall, so we kind of know where it's going. You got the vibe. It's Rumex with California Dreamin'.
So it's a brick wall because of the drums? Like, is that what you're seeing?
100% brick wall. I could jump through it if you'd like. Hang on. Oh, okay.
There you go.
If I was in California.
So when I was 18, 19, and 20, I was going to these shows. And I would have been stoked to hear a record that seemed familiar in a set of otherwise, you know, banging noise. So I'm into it. I like this record. I'll take half a bell.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, when we toured Australia, we were shocked at how many hardstyle festivals
Yes.
were coming through there.
Yes. Imagine it 10 years before that.
Aggressive motherfuckers you are.
Yeah. The Australians are in it to win it. So this is a record that would work in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard a house version of this song around the 2008 timeframe as well, give or take a couple of years. And there was another record, the Somebody to Love. Don't You Want Somebody to Love? That was
Yeah.
a nice chop up record. And so there was another one. Yeah. I would know where to look for it in my CD collection. These kinds of old 70s records, it just the melancholy, dark ones that you can just imagine being synced to like a Marilyn Manson documentary. Those style songs, and this is just the hard house version, so I'm into it.
So specific.
Literally.
Yep.
Raquel, how you feeling about this?
I like it. I mean, it transported me back to being in the clubs in Korea at like 5 a.m. So, same thing. Like, and it's super dark in the club, and you're just like,
Yeah.
it's 5 a.m. I should be sleeping, but I'm at the club in the speaker. Here I am.
Yeah. I'm
It works.
literally sleeping in the speaker right now.
Literally on the speaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
We-
I fell
I-
asleep once in a nightclub on a subwoofer.
Oh God.
I was
How are you
waiting for it.
here? How are you alive?
I was waiting for an artist called Itchy and Scratchy, who was
Itchy and Scratchy.
Paul Mack, and he went on to win an ARIA award, like the Australian Grammy. So very well put together producers, but they were coming on so late. I don't think they came on until like 5:30 a.m. And here's me rocking up at 10 o'clock when doors open, just listening to a bunch of shit for the longest time, hoping that I'd finally come on. And I just went, I have to either go home or I need to catch, like, because I was told they're not coming for like another hour. And I said, I either need to go home or I need to catch an hour's sleep. And I asked to go out and they wouldn't let me out of the club. And they said, if you leave, you're not allowed to come back in. So I couldn't go and sleep in the car. So I found a massive big box and I found out it was like just full of 18-inch subwoofers. And I went, I don't care. And I fell asleep.
You're a legend.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But to your point, Raquel, I would say this record should never be played before 5 a.m. This is a post 5 a.m.
Definitely.
play.
5 to 7.
5 to 7.
7
exactly.
a.m.
It's a 5 to 7 set, and it would be pumping. It'd be so great because by then people are like need the motivation, they need the beat, and they probably haven't heard any commercial-ish stuff. And then this vocal, it's familiar, not trying to be pop commercial, comes out and just gives it to you. Yeah, it's great.
So Radio Dave said, give us some reverse kick like an old school Disco Fries set. We definitely used to play shit like this in our sets. I think, Lauren, when we played Avalon and you came out in like 2013, 2014, we dropped some records like this. We would dip in and out of them. But our biggest fail was dropping some of this when we were opening for Tiesto. These are things you don't play as an opener, which we did, and it was a fail. But, live and learn. What I would say about the mix is marrying the vocal to the mix a little bit more would be helpful. A little more sidechain on the vocal would go a long way. But that's it. It's dope. It's good for what it's good for. So that was Rumix with
5 a.m.
California Dreamin'. 5 a.m.
5 a.m. I like it. It's cool. The more I'm listening to it, I want to give you the other half of the bell. Yeah, I'll take a full bell.
All right.
Ooh.
There it is.
Big record. Big record.
Nice one. We're going to jump into Quentin Berger, Other Side. Here we go. Right here on Dope or Nope.
Getting no cold around me. Air with dust everywhere and some clouds in the air. Passing above over me. And there's always a fire underneath. Keep me going and going. Hold my hand and cover me. Keep me rolling and rolling like the air I need to breathe. Na 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 na, but you are over there. I'm waiting on the other side. I ain't going nowhere. Na 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 na, you're still not here, and I'm not waiting, not going anywhere. Don't is the loser required? A star in a twin, a little shine on my skin. Refusing the day, giving leg. And breathing the spirit of endless night. Keep me going and going. Hold my hand and cover me. Keep me rolling and rolling like the air I need to breathe. Na 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 na, but you are over there. I'm waiting on the other side. I ain't
All right, Quentin Berger, Other Side. Wow, I love this song.
Keep it going a little bit.
Yeah, happy to. Just goes back into that and then it wraps up.
No worries. I have my notes. I'm ready. Go ahead, Nick.
Production aside, just for a second, I love the songwriting. I love the vocal. Reminds me of Sting a little bit. It's cool. The layering's cool. It's catchy. It's already stuck in my head. Like that hook stuck with me, and the little melody line stuck with me. The sound design, the mixing, everything framing the vocal sounds like here's my rough ideas that I threw down in an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm sorry if you spent more time than that. That's just what it sounds like zooming out to me on first listen. It sounds like a really rough demo that you'd send to finishmytrack.com, where we would replace all of your sound design and make it a polished record. Is this a great demo to shop to a producer as an idea? Absolutely. I think it's perfect for that. I like the chord changes and I like everything about it. I just think the production is where it's lacking, but it's a cool direction. In fact, there's a record I just heard from Panau and Khalid. What was it called? Panau, Khalid, called... I think it's called The Hard Way.
Yeah, The
Yeah,
Hard Way.
and that's a great reference of a direction you could go with this. It's not that far off from what you did, but it's a little cooler, a little more polished, obviously. That would be my feedback. Really nice songwriting, though.
So if I said to you, hey, have you heard that new song from Quentin Berger? You know, the one that goes like, what would you say?
Na 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 na. There isn't a one line, but it's a catchy melody. I think
Yes.
where it could stand on its own. Would it hurt to have that like one grab phrase that you have? For sure.
It's right there on the cusp. To me, from the songwriting perspective, it's very pre-chorusy. It's like a really exciting pre-chorus. It feels like the song is just pre-choruses. It's like that uplifting, fun vocal that's not quite memorable because you don't have to remember it because you're waiting for the chorus moment, the moment that's the sing-along part that everyone sings to and remembers the hook of. But this one feels like it's missing the vocal hook, and I agree that the na 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 na, the fact that it goes down means that it's meant to flow into something else, and it's not ending as a top melody. It's not the hook. It's not resolving. It's purposely trying to be the opposite side of that. So for me, I think that it's almost there, but not quite. To your point about just the melody, it feels very 80s and it feels really beautiful and it feels super nice to listen to and really, really enjoyable. And the snare, it dates the shit out of it. Like it makes it feel retro and 80s, like that kind of old school snare, electronic-ish thing. But I really like it. I was like, oh, this is a fun record. It would do well in synchronization. It's not too aggressive. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I just sort of felt like there's sadly no vocal hook and it's missing that, which means that it won't share well.
Yeah, there's parts of it. Hang on.
Need to breathe.
It's all great.
I love that part.
Yeah, so it needs like something to the other side of me. The other side of me. Just like something you could, that's it.
Yeah.
That's my landing.
Yeah.
I had the same problem with Let You Go by the Chainsmokers. When we listened to that record, there was no one particular line. All the lines were good. But when we listened to it all the way through, it didn't feel like there was any particular hook. Like, what's the memorable part of the song? So we got one memorable hook of the song and repeated it. So originally it was line 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you ever go back and listen to the song and the third drop, we left them as they were. And in our version, we said, let's take line 4, Let You Go, and make it line 2 as well. So it landed as line 1, then Let You Go, then line 3, then Let You Go. So you kind of got it repeated as line 2 and 4. And by the time the first drop, you're like, oh, for sure the song's called Let You Go. And then you locked it in again on the second drop. And then on the third drop, because we're doing 3 drops back in 2014, you let the second line live. And it felt like a cool variation. That's what I would probably advise if we only had the stems and we didn't have the songwriters to come up with anything. I'd be like, okay, what line in here is really cool that you could repeat? But I don't think there is something which does that na 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 na. That'd be a cool melody to make a lyric out of.
That's a cool idea. Raquel, what was your vibe on it?
It reminded me of Don't You Want Me Baby from the 80s.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
And then And
Don't
then-
you want me, baby? That
Literally,
record.
that's all I heard in the song.
Damn.
And
Cool.
it would be a song that I would hear playing in like Hollister shopping. It would
For
definitely
sure.
be one of those songs that gets added to like every single store's playlist, which is not a bad thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think I'm missing that one line that just makes you go, ooh, that's it. That's the line. That's the lyric.
Love that. Great advice. Quentin Berger. Other
Yeah, great
side.
record. Super great record.
Yeah, I'd put that at like a 70 to 80%. Like
Yeah.
it's
Totally.
close.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's a different 70, 80%. Because to me, it feels like 70, 80% don't change. It's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's the next level of what else can you do with it to make it more hooky. But great, really great record. I'll take half a bell if I didn't already.
All right, there you go. We got time for a couple more.
Yeah.
Next up is DJ Kirk with "Down with Your
With your
Love."
love, with your love,
What else?
with your love, with your love. Ain't get enough, stop it down with your love. Ain't get enough, stop it. 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 Ain't get enough, stop it down with your love. With your love, with your love. Ain't get enough, stop it. Ain't get enough, stop it. Ain't get enough, stop it down with your love. With your love, down with your love. Ain't get enough, stop it down with your love.
All right, that is DJ Kirk with "Down with Your Love." All right, so I have very specific advice on this. I love
Go
the
for it.
setup. The setup is cool. It grabs you right away. Once the drop hits, it sounded like a rhythmic placeholder
Yep.
for what will be the drop.
Yes.
Like
My advice entirely. Why not?
I put in sounds here to hold what will eventually be cooler, much more polished sounds doing this same rhythm.
Yeah.
So I think you've got a
Great
good
stuff.
framework there.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Great stuff.
if you swap those sounds out for like really identifiable, like ravey, cooler sounds in that rhythm, I think you're headed somewhere really good. The vocal's great, catchy. I don't know if it's a splice thing or just a sample, but it definitely gets your attention right off the top. And then when you get to that break, after the first drop, it feels really good because you've had that whole rhythmic section, so you're like due for a moment. So like I said, I think you've got like a really good structure there and a really good start, but start playing with swapping out that rhythmic drop into something a lot cooler and fresher.
It's funny because I can see this popping off at a festival with like all the lasers and everything, but that part of the song just needs to be changed so that
Right.
way that can happen and it can pop off.
But
it
like
can
that
get there.
vocal, if that vocal came in off of another
Yeah.
record, you'd be like, oh shit, this is dope.
Yeah, and then like it would just go ham and
Yep.
everyone would be losing their mind. But like right now I zoned out, I was bored. I was like, skip. I would skip
Yeah.
that part. Once it got to that
Funny.
part, I would skip it.
Yeah. Funny. Like the setup was cool, and then when the drop hit, the first 3 seconds of it, I was like, "Oh, cool," and then by about 8-10 seconds in, I was like, oh, "Okay, it's a placeholder."
Yeah.
So it started interesting, but it didn't continue. It just, yeah. Anyway, so we're all in agreement. There's something definitely there. Now it just needs to be fleshed out more. So great start.
Definitely
It
a
starts
great
to get
start.
repetitive. It starts to get like, oh, I've heard this idea. Have you heard the phrase that if you've heard the first half of the record, you've heard the whole record?
Mhm.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And that's what we have here.
Agreed. Wow, you timed that perfectly
Good job.
on the end of the song. I love that. You're very good.
He hit the post.
I love it.
Yeah, hit the end post. Wow.
You guys got a little bit of time for two more?
Yeah, 2 more.
All right, cool. Michael Feel, Aleko with Yeah. Jump ahead a bit.
Oh. Go back.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, fairly long arrangement, so
It's pretty damn good. So my thoughts on it is when it first landed, I was like, "Oh, I'm signing this for sure. It's amazing." And then, and then there was a change. There's a couple of changes in the drop that kind of, it's almost like it went from minor to major type of feeling. It was like this really weird chord that made it happy in one progression. I'm like, what is that? That doesn't fit with the cool factor. And then as the record advanced, I was like, okay, this is jumping around a little too much, and it doesn't know what it is. But it sounds clean, and I'll throw to you, Nick. It sounds clean. It sounds professional. It sounds like the sounds are got their own space in the mix. But also positively, right up to the build, I was like, wow, there's like all this little pieces of ear candy and little adjustments and like DJ breaks and sort of things in the mix as if you were messing with it live. So from the production perspective, I really liked it as well. So really good.
I would agree with you when the bass line, I think it went to like the major third or something, right at the top of the drop.
Sure.
But it was like an odd variation right off the rip when you want it to just drive.
In the
you
groove.
could do something like that. They do it, Fisher, in Losing It. They do that one bass note variation that happens like later in the record, and it's cool because you haven't heard it before. It's a slight moment that changes it, which I think those things work really well. But with this, you wanted it to stay a little bit darker right off the top, and I also think the whole arrangement's just too long. You get too much of that melodic. The sound never changes. It just rides forever. I would just cut this whole thing way down.
Yeah.
Do some automation on that sound and think about like getting that bass to just have a 4-bar loop that's very straightforward for you to use, and then do some variations as the song progresses, rather than like first drop right away, I'm gonna change this up. But I love the vibe.
Same. I also like the vibe. I think there's 2 half bells in there. So Nick,
we'll give one full bell for
full bell for Nick and me. Yeah.
And Raquel, where are you at on it?
Raquel, where you at?
I think the last record needed some of this. That's
Oh,
for sure.
wow. So good. Didn't even think of that. Damn. Wow.
I was like, yeah,
hell?
that's what, this is it. Guys, collab, be friends, do
Yeah.
that. DM each other. You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's too long, but I really like the vibe. Same thing, it could go off at a festival with a little bit of tweaks. Yeah, it did what
Yeah.
exactly it needed to do when you thought it would do.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, I wonder what artist on DMAC could collab with this or could use it and actually fix it, slash make it cooler, make it bigger. That was my first thinking. I was like, I wonder if this is an opportunity for someone sort of to take an instrumental and then tweak with it. And I got that idea from Oliver Heldens, who said to me he has so many ideas in his hard drive, and he's like, if I turn my ego off and just say, screw it, I'm going to give this out to different people, and then they do the work. I don't do anything. It comes back and it's either not good or it's good. And if it's good, then great. We both share in something which was awesome that I couldn't have come up with myself
True.
without spending time that he doesn't have. Or he couldn't just do it. So this feels like one of those records. Like, who do you respect in the house music scene who makes driving, chugging music, and go to someone like that and say, hey, here's something, would you like to collaborate on it? Or maybe it's not a ghost production, maybe it's just a production where you become the producer for someone else's act as well. That happens plenty of times, you know. Take it to a bigger act and they might say, oh yeah, I could work on this, and it comes out as a insert big DJ name here record, and you get listed as a co-producer.
That's great advice. Going back to what Raquel said, I think more of the producers who submit here should definitely collaborate. Two
Be
of the guys
friends.
that are on here, Corral and Todd Stuckey, work together on a record, who then I plug them in with our vocalist Vic, who we manage, and they did a record together, which is coming out on Hysteria this Friday. But like, this is part of a Dope or Nope, Finish My
Wow.
Track
Yeah,
collab
Everything.
thing.
it's an incubator.
It's
Yeah.
an incubator, yeah, and I think if more people communicate with each other off stream, it would be great to hear what comes out of that. So
Yep.
we definitely encourage it.
Yeah.
All right, one more. How about one more?
Yep.
Go.
All right, let's do it. This is it. Earthquake weather.
Earthquake weather it is.
All right.
LA.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right.
You're welcome.
Oh, they sent 4 tracks. It looks like an
Jeez.
EP, so we're just gonna pick one here.
Uh-oh.
This one's called Gaslight.
Uh-oh.
Gaslight the earthquake.
Your narcissistic ways are always getting in the way. With the last words to say, no, that this is not okay. But all in its totality has driven me to insanity. No, that this is just too much for me to bear. No longer can I share a single thought I cannot spare. And you don't know what it is to be with a dream without a sleep, with a guy without
All right, that is Earthquake Weather with Gaslight. Some cool ideas there. This is a very specific style. There's a guy named Lo-File that does, I think he changed his name, but he still has music out under Lo-File that does really highly compressed, super musical stuff like this. And it works really well, but it's entirely dependent on the mix to get something like this to work the right way. From a musicality perspective, there's a lot of cool shit going on. I like some of the sounds. The chord changes are really cool, but just the mix isn't really there. And the vocal is obviously like warped from something that was much slower and then put over this, and it's just kind of falls apart with everything else going on. But if you like, these parts are really cool. These like little piano parts are really dope, and that tempo is fine. It's just that you have to nail this kind of mix for it to work. So
Take the
I would
vocal off. Take it off.
yeah.
My only thought was that this is perhaps the only record I've ever heard with 90% wet on the vocal reverb knob. It's really impressive. It's like more wet than dry. Phenomenal. Super reverb. Like, I was like, wait, what is he saying through all that wash? So yeah, the mix is an issue, but I liked it. It was a fun record. It just felt too much aggression in the hats, like a shaker.
It was all right here. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
There was no
Well,
like.
and if you see the waveform, it looks exactly like what you just described.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably something about hyperpop or something that I'm not understanding exactly as well. It just felt like it wasn't doing what I thought hyperpop normally does. So, but it's there, it's in that world of like trying to overdo it, and if you are trying to overdo it, then overdo it some more to really land it in that slot.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like maybe even sidechain the vocal more aggressively, like make it pump more or something. I don't know. But
Actually, what a lot of that hyperpop stuff does is not only like side chains the vocal, but also side chains like the top loop. So if those hi-hats are a loop, they'll just side chain the shit out of that.
yeah, great.
So it makes a lot more room for other stuff to pop out.
Sure.
It's a tough style. A lot of that stuff sounds like people don't know what they're doing and it's over compressed. But if you really listen to a lot of it that's done well, it's very specific how things are treated and what has space and what pops out. It's tough. It's not an easy thing to achieve, but
It's a good record. It's a fun record. It's got a lot of really good elements. I just think that everything is there, and there might be a way of making it feel more glued in with a better mix, or concentrating on just a couple of things, and then maybe not as much of that sort of everything there, hats wise or shakers or whatever else, but. Yeah, it felt like a fun thing to listen to.
Yeah, I think it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do hyperpop, you got to go even more and make that correct. Or if you're not, and we just ended up here, then we got to go back and figure out some things.
Right.
well, that was Earthquake Weather, Gaslight. This is Dope or Nope. Thank you for tuning in every week.
Yes.
We will be here. We'll be back with Hess next week, who's our official DJ. I'm just an
You did a
imposter.
great job. You did a great job.
You did a fabulous job.
Thank you. That was me fishing for a compliment, and I got two.
There you
so
go.
I'll
And
take
you got 2 compliments. Very good.
it. And I control the bell. I'll give myself a bell too.
Very good.
Giving myself a bell.
So what's going on? What's going on this weekend, Raquel? What are you up to?
It's swim week in Miami, so
Swim
I
week?
am yes.
Oh, wow.
You know,
What's that?
Miami, it's like swim
Water.
fashion week. So
Yeah. Oh, nice,
lots
nice,
of
nice.
swimsuit fashion week things. But Vavo's actually playing a pop-up, so I'm gonna go see them. That'll be fun.
Right.
Nice.
And then one of my really good friends is actually coming into town from Atlanta, so we'll be just frolicking this weekend. I
Nice.
think I'm gonna be on Hits One Sunday, and then tomorrow on AMP is K-pop with Rock at 12 p.m. EST. So busy
What's
weekend.
that? What's the K-pop thing all about? Tell me more about that. 'Cause we haven't spoken-
So obviously everyone is always like, why aren't you hosting your own K-pop radio show? And I'm like,
Right.
because I just am not. No one's given me the opportunity.
Sure.
So AMP launched, I don't know when it did officially launch, but it's in beta testing still. But basically I can host my own radio show on AMP. It's connected with Amazon Music. And yeah, so I basically program the show. It's an hour every Friday, and I play my favorite K-pop music, up-and-coming K-pop music, and some like K-R&B DJ stuff too that I think people should know about. So
Oh, okay, nice.
you just download the app. It's connected to your Amazon account, and you can find me and listen to my show live.
What's the app called? Sorry.
AMP.
just amp. Got it.
Yeah.
And what's your show called?
K-pop with rock.
K-pop with rock.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
That's cool.
RACQ.
RACQ. Finger.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's cool. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's really great. It's
Thank
well
you, it's
deserved.
fun. You know.
I will be doing nothing except for dealing with all of this fucking paperwork everywhere. Just
What's that?
paper all over my desk. There's just paper everywhere, and I don't want any paper on my desk by Sunday night. So,
Wait, how was Sweden? We like missed that.
oh,
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Have we not spoken about Sweden? Wow.
No.
No.
Sweden was extraordinarily good. I was at Music Markina for 4 full days. It's the first time I've done 4 full days. And the talent pool is absolutely phenomenal. So many great producers and songwriters and singers. Really loved it. And then went to Stockholm and met with some publishers. And then it was summer. It's obviously summer in Sweden and everyone comes out. It's kind of like everyone's been hibernating and then they all coming out and the vibe is pumping. Like everyone's so happy. Happiness factor is like at a straight clear 10.
Love that.
Just caught up with a couple of dear friends of mine, and what was fun for me personally was that I went out and did a couple of dinners on Friday night and Saturday night of EDC. I was in Stockholm organizing a dinner for some of the past students from 2018 through now
Wow.
that I've been seeing, and they've gone on the industry and they're doing good things. I invited them to hang out, and I invited a lot thinking that I'd only get a few, and I almost got all of them. So I split them over 2 nights based on their availability, and it was just like 2 of the best dinners, like the idea of, when you go to your birthday party and everyone, it was like that for me. It was
That's
so
awesome.
cool. I hadn't seen them all for years, and it was obviously some of them I hadn't seen at all, literally through the whole of COVID, etc. So, really heartwarming, fun time that I had in Sweden, and I did not sleep at all, practically. I ran on the lowest amount of sleep to the point that when I got back, I had a flu for no reason.
That was me after Korea. Yep.
Yeah, right. So, when we go overseas, Raquel, we thrash ourselves to maximize,
I'm just crazy.
rinse
so.
the towel, and that's what happened to me. But it was really great.
That's fantastic. So I have a couple announcements
Oh,
I
here it
want to
comes.
use this time for.
Give it.
I'm as far as this weekend, it's my only free weekend until like mid-July, so I'm going
Cool.
to do nothing.
Love that.
love that.
And I'm going to enjoy the shit out of that. But we've got a massive release next Friday on Liftoff that I'm really excited about. It's our last big single before our album, and it's with Ferry Corsten.
Jesus.
Really excited that we got to work with Ferry on this record and that he cleared it for us to put it out on our label.
Wow.
Yes.
So I'm going to drop the pre-save in. If you guys could support and pre-save the record,
Do
that
it.
would be awesome. It's called Love You Loud. So Danny and I did a mix this past week. It's over 60 records we did in this mix, and 30 of them are Disco Fries records. We've done these like Liftoff series over the years, and this is the 4th one we've probably done in the past 8 or 9 years, because it takes a tremendous amount of time. But there's a little peek at the record on there. So that's out. And then next week we're playing KT Euphoria at Jones Beach with Kylie Minogue. So super excited
Nice.
about this
What?
Casual.
next
Casual?
run of shows is going to be pretty crazy. But yeah,
Man, that's
shout out
great.
to Ferry for jumping on this with us. We're really excited.
Yeah. Shout out to Kylie Minogue for coming across
Yeah.
and having you do a show with her.
Your people.
Yeah. Kylie Minogue is like royalty in Australia. Like
Really?
Oh, yeah.
royalty.
I can only
So-
imagine.
Yeah, she's massive. I don't even know what you would compare it to. She's like, she's like Christine Aguilera mixed with Celine Dion mixed with Dolly Parton. Like, just
Yeah.
this love for her is, ubiquitous.
That's crazy. Well, we're psyched about it. So it's going to be a big week. So hence why I'm not doing anything this weekend.
Good.
Um,
Deserved.
I love
These
that
guys-
for you.
I'd love to give you guys a preview if you've got.
Yeah, of course.
2
If you're
minutes.
able to
Duh.
play it, so long as you don't pull it down and destroy our show later, it's great.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
All right,
We'll
let's
give
hear
a
it.
little
What you
little
got?
peek. Let's do it. Give you like the first minute or so.
Uh-oh. There it comes.
Just a boy standing on the edge. Just a girl who's in my head. Oh, you're everything that I want. Oh, you're everything that I need. Oh, the air that fills up my lungs. The only love that I want to breathe. This is how it feels. This is how it feels to love you like. This is how it feels. This is how it feels to love you like. Won't you tell me the truth? Let me shine, shine bright. This is how it feels. This is how it feels to love you like.
All right, that's all you're getting. Love You Loud, out Friday. Disco Fries, Perry Corsten, Leon Stanford on vocals.
Sick. So sick. So
So
sick.
good.
Yeah,
Damn.
and Leon, who did the vocal, it was the top line was written by D. Adam out of the UK, and Leon Stanford. He's a street singer. He's
Really?
just
Wow.
yeah, he's just a guy on the block.
Stop.
Can sing. Can sing.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
good. Yeah. It just felt like it just kept building. Like building the whole time. I'm like, wait, is this the drop? No, this is not the drop. Wait, this is the drop, right? No, it's not the drop. So it just felt like it just kept going. Long
We had
snare roll.
sent like
Beautiful.
the framework of it to Ferry, and then he added like that and some other trickery, and then sent
Yeah.
that back. Then we did shit and sent it back to him.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
it was such a natural. It was great to have somebody that was like he's super hands on, and
Yeah.
he got it right away.
Great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so
Dude, really good. Super good.
Amazing.
I love it.
thank you guys.
Yeah.
Do I get a bell?
Yeah, you get
Yes.
3 bells. Yeah.
3 bells. And
bells,
one for
3 bells.
Hess, because he would definitely give it a bell too.
Hess
Nice.
got a bell. Yeah, man, when it first started, my face was like, what is this? The clarity on it, the compression on it, the width on it was beautiful. So, yeah, really loved it. Really
Well,
nice.
it's like an advertisement every time we put out a record now.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to be.
That's
It has to, like we always are like this has to be the best thing ever. But now, it's like we're perceived in the producer community as doing mixes and masters, obviously because
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
intentionally designed it that way. But
Yeah.
every track is like a commercial for what we do. So
Yes.
it just has to be the best fucking thing possible.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds right. Yep.
Anyway,
It's
Thank you.
a good note for others to use themselves as like it's an advertisement for your brand every time you put a song out. And I normally say music is a business card for your live shows, and this is a business card for your production and your branding and your label and your associations with Ferry Corsten. I mean, it's hot. It's all very, very hot. Good job.
thank you, sir. That means a lot coming from you guys.
Solid.
So
All right.
thank you all in the chat for the support. As always, we'll see you next week, same time,
Good. Yep.
same channel.
All right, bud.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Oh, we're gonna raid into somebody.
You're gonna raid. All right.
Yeah. Well,
No problem.
whatever. You guys can
Okay.
either hang or drop out, whatever you want to do.
All right. Take care. See you later.
See you guys
Good
soon.
call. See
All
ya.
right, Spawn. Who do you got for me here? Let me see. Lily Pita. That's who we're going to. Lily Pita. All right. Thank you guys again. Pre-save the record. See y'all next week. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. Peace out.